You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And when you're first starting out in commercial real estate, you'll be spending the vast majority of your waking hours with the people that you work with, which means that chances are you're going to be picking up the habits, thought processes, and work ethic of your coworkers and or managers for better or for worse. And since the first few years of a real estate career can have such a massive impact on the trajectory of your entire time in the industry, questions around choosing the best option when you're first starting out are some of the most frequently asked within Break Into CRE Academy, and for very good reason. So in case you are wondering this same thing, to help you answer this specific to your own unique scenario, in this video, I wanted to address the question, how do I choose the right company to work for when I'm just starting out in CRE, and also walk through a 3-part framework that can be applied directly to your decision-making process, whether you're looking to break into private equity, brokerage, or even lending, and what you should know first before accepting any job in the industry. So to illustrate what is going to be the overarching theme of this video, I want to start out with an example, putting yourself back into high school sports. Let's say you're good enough to make the varsity basketball team as a sophomore, and you have to make a decision around whether or not to take a roster spot at the varsity level or stay back and play JV. If you end up taking the varsity spot, you're probably going to be one of the worst players on the team, you'll get your ass kicked in practice on a daily basis, and chances are that you'll ride the bench for the majority of your first year. But by your junior year, you'll have a full season under your belt of playing at a much higher level than the guys that stayed back and played JV, and you'll also have a much stronger skill set as a result, so you decide to take the leap. And because you were willing to take the inevitable ego hit that comes from matching up against players that were better than you, by the time college scouts come recruiting in your area, you become exactly the kind of player they see potential in, and you land an athletic scholarship at a top Division I program as a result. And fast forward to college, the same cycle continues. You get your ass kicked in practice, eventually start matching up against some of the best players in the country on game day, and by senior year, you've got pro scouts looking to get you on their roster, all because you played up when you were 16 years old rather than taking the easy route and sticking on the JV squad because you knew you'd be the best player on the floor. And for your first few jobs in your commercial real estate career, this selection process is surprisingly similar to deciding whether to stick around on JV for another year or take the plunge into varsity before you're ready. And if you choose right here, this single decision can put you years ahead of your peer group if you fast forward into the future. So whether you're deciding between competing offers and not sure which one to choose, or you're just trying to narrow down your job search from the seemingly endless amount of options there are out there, these are 3 ways I've found to jump to that varsity squad immediately and set yourself up for success in the long term as a result. So first, when choosing a company to work for, one of the first things I'd recommend prioritizing is that the company is active in the specific product type or product types you want to be working in long term. If you played varsity baseball as a sophomore, but you chose to sit out the basketball season to make that happen, and your long-term goal was to go to the NBA, although you will become a more well-rounded athlete in the process, this is obviously an extremely inefficient way to get there. And if you do decide to move back onto that basketball path in the future, you're almost always going to have to take a step back to get there, and now you'll actually be behind your peer group when you end up making the switch. And even though it's not a perfect comparison and many skill sets are transferable between product types, becoming an expert in office, for example, only to make the switch to multifamily 2 to 3 years later will absolutely leave you with gaps in your skill sets that will inevitably set you back in your progression throughout the industry. And because of this, if you want to fast track your career and get really good at what you do as quickly as possible, choosing a company that focuses on the specific product type or product types that you want to be working on long term is incredibly important and something I'd highly recommend prioritizing when making decisions around where you want to start out in your career. Now, assuming you're in the product type you want to be, the next thing to look for to find the right opportunity for you is to look to work within a team that will teach you the right way to do things. If you had the opportunity to play for Phil Jackson alongside MJ, Scottie Pippen, and Dennis Rodman, again, you're probably going to get your ass kicked in practice every day, and you'll probably ride the bench in your first season on the team, but you'll learn exactly how the grades play, and you'll be trained to operate at that level as a result. And in a commercial real estate context, this means looking for a well-respected institutional brand name company with a rigorous training program, or a smaller to medium-sized shop that's actually run by people who have cut their teeth at these major institutions and bring those same best practices into the office every day and expect the same from you. When interviewing for an analyst or associate position and speaking with your hiring manager, ask yourself if you would want to be that kind of professional that person appears to be, or if you respect and admire their work ethic and thought process. The same is also true for your coworkers if there are other analysts you'll be working with or directly under, and you can potentially learn from the knowledge and experience of these people and be pushed on a daily basis to become a better professional. If you go out of your way to put yourself in positions with teammates that naturally lift you to that next level, pretty soon that next level will just become another day at the office for you, which means quicker career progression overall and higher earning potential earlier on in your career. And finally, the last piece of advice I'll leave you with in this video when picking a commercial real estate company to work for is to make sure that you choose a firm where you can get reps in, ideally in the specific job function you want to be doing long term. The term reps in the commercial real estate industry is just short for repetitions, and when real estate professionals talk about getting reps in, they're talking specifically about deal volume and getting exposure to as much deal volume as you can as early on in your career as you can get it. To use another basketball analogy, in 1999, Kobe Bryant fractured his right hand, and when the injury healed, his fingers weren't evenly spaced anymore, which caused issues with his jump shot, and his field goal percentage dropped in the process. And that summer, to retrain his shot, Kobe averaged over 1,000 makes per day, not even including missed shots for the entire 3-month period before the next season started. And in the following year, Kobe went on to win his first of 5 NBA championship rings and started off a three-peat for the Lakers in the process. And again, to put this into a real estate context, using the best practices mentioned in the second point in this video, and then practicing those habits and skill sets over and over again is one of the biggest things that you can do to rise to the top of the industry as quickly as possible. This is why I often say that analyst roles at major brokerage firms like CBRE, JLL, Cushman & Wakefield, and Eastdil Secured are such great places to start a career. In these types of positions, you'll learn from some of the best in the industry, your clients expect the best work in the industry, and in these types of roles, you'll be putting in longer hours than most of your peers and seeing a significant amount of deal flow in the process. Private equity and lending positions can also work well for this, depending on what your long-term goals are, as long as you're doing a lot of the thing or things you want to end up becoming an expert in 5, 10, or 15 years down the road. Regardless of where you start out, the beginning of your career is probably going to be difficult and uncomfortable in many different ways, but the key here is to make that discomfort actually worth the hassle. And if you're at a shop where you can get a significant amount of reps in within a very short period of time, that means that window of discomfort also shortens, and you actually lengthen the time on the back end when you get to enjoy the fruits of your labor, either in more senior positions or after starting your own real estate investment, brokerage, or lending firm. Ultimately, if you can find a company that checks all 3 of these boxes, you're going to end up setting your career on a fast track to get where you want to go, regardless of where that ending destination might be. And if you want to make sure you'll be ready when that right opportunity comes along so you can ace your interviews or tackle a technical modeling exam that might be thrown your way during the interview process, as always, make sure to check out our all-in-one membership training platform, Break Into CRE Academy. A membership to the Academy will give you instant access to over 120 hours of video training on real estate financial modeling and analysis. You'll get access to hundreds of practice Excel interview exam questions, sample acquisition case studies, our entire library of pre-built acquisition, development, and waterfall models for multifamily, office, retail, and industrial properties, and you'll also have access to private one-on-one email-based career coaching if you're looking to break into a top real estate private equity brokerage or lending shop and want some additional personalized feedback on your own unique career scenario. And if you like this video and want to see more content on this channel on commercial real estate careers or you just appreciated the sports references, make sure to hit the like button to let me know. And let me know in the comments anything else you look for in a real estate company that you'd want to work for. As always, thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you found this helpful. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to see more videos like this every single week, and I'll see you in the next video.